I'm sure you're aware that data and information can come in all sorts of forms. It could be in business reports that are hundreds of pages long, and there's a lot of information in those pages, and it's a bit all over the place. And it could be that there is certain things you need to focus on, certain things you don't need to focus on. And it could be the things you need to focus on are actually in lots of different places. And that can be quite difficult and quite time consuming. But using various different AI tools, you can plug those reports into AI and ask it for specific information, ask it to extract all the information that relates to finance, all the information that relates to risk or to industry trends, whatever it may be, and produce a summarized report of those specifics for you at the touch of a few buttons. So keep watching to find out how to do that. At some point in your career, it's likely that you will need to analyze a financial report, an annual report. It could be that you need to look at your own organization, or you need to look at a client's organization, customer organization, competitor, supplier, potential acquisition opportunity, whatever it may be. Particularly if you are working as an accountant or a finance professional or a consultant, it's probably something that you have done before. But it can be quite time consuming to analyze a financial report, particularly if you need to analyze a few of them. For example, I've got Sainsbury's here. Perhaps we will be looking at Sainsbury's, we're looking at Tesco's, looking at Morrison's, looking at Marks and Spencer's, etc., to try and find a trend and what various different organizations within that industry are doing. Now, of course, that would be very time consuming if we had to look at all of them, particularly given that, as we can see here, this report is 212 pages long. And there's lots of useful information in these reports, but a lot of it is aimed at different professionals, different people, different stakeholders of the organization. So we've got some information about the finances, but we've also got lots of information about stakeholders, about the mission, the vision, the values, letters from the CEO, letters from the chairperson, etc. Whereas if we were perhaps wanting to look at this quite quickly just to analyze the financials, it might be harder for us to just simply look at the document and do that. And also, because they're often in website or PDF format, it's very difficult to extract and analyze and annotate the information that is provided there. But AI and GPT can actually help you here to extract the information in a way that is quick, in a way that is efficient, that then allows you to analyze that data effectively, puts it into a format that you can actually use. So, for example, just going to pop over to GPT now, and I've got a prompt here to extract the financial tables from Sainsbury's annual report. And I've got the link here to the website where we found it. Now, also, you could download that as a PDF and attach it. And I've asked it to format it clearly in a structured table format, including all the relevant financial figures, key performance indicators, and segment breakdowns. So I've also asked it to ensure that it uses the right numbers and that each table is labeled properly. So let's ask it to do that. Just might take a moment. It's got to analyze the document. And as we can see, it's going through, it's picking out some of the key performance indicators, it's picking out some of the segment reporting, it's picking out some of the key parts of the balance sheet, such as the non-current assets, the current assets, etc., and also a consolidated income statement. Now, we could ask it to run it again if we want the more broken down version of the income statement, for example. So we might ask it to do that. And you can see it's providing us with a much more in-depth, in-detailed one there. Now, of course, now that we have this information, that's far more usable for us. We can use this, we can ask it to analyze the financial position of the organization. We can ask it to export the statements to Excel. And then once we've done that, we can look at them in a bit more detail. We can start editing and analyzing and calculating things based on that in Excel. Just wait for it to do that. And it might just take a couple moments. It's obviously got quite a lot of information here that it needs to pull together and export into a new format. Again, still very, very quick compared to how you perhaps would do it yourself if you were doing it manually. Just now finished doing. So we can download this financial statement now. And you can see it has taken that information from GPT, those two big statements there, and put them into a spreadsheet format. One we can now analyze, one we can now put into the format we want, ones that we can ask it to do calculations of. And we could do this in Excel itself. We could look at the differences between the 2 years. We could look for some key metrics, or we could do this in GPT itself. As you can see here, I have asked it to summarize the revenue, operating profit, and net income, and how this compares to last year, and also to calculate the debt to equity and interpret the financial risk based on those figures. So let's see what it does there. Again, just going to take a moment to load. And you can see it's now calculating that for us. Giving us our debt to equity ratio, saying that the company actually has high financial risk. And that's just one of the things that we could do. What we could do is go back to this one here to edit this question and respond directly to the Excel sheet there and ask it to add in growth and decline for each row year on year. And what that's then going to do is going to show us whether, for example, the revenue grew or whether it declined, whether certain costs grew or whether they reduced, etc. And we can see it's now updated those financial statements, so we can open those, and you can see it's actually given us the percentages. So now we can see the percentage year-on-year change for Sainsbury's, and again use that to highlight key bits of information such as cash and cash equivalents has grown 18.35%. Total non-current liabilities grown 4.03%, trade payables reduced by 4.17%, and so on. So we could also then go back and ask GPT to provide a summary of the financial position of Sainsbury's and it will summarize some key statistics for us. So you can imagine if we were looking to analyze the organization for some key highlights, how quickly we've managed to create this spreadsheet, how quickly we've managed to analyze it, to define the changes and summarize the position of the company as well. So quite a brief example, and focusing solely on the revenue, on the profit, and the balance sheet of the organization. We haven't looked at various different risk factors, its contributions to environmental reporting, and those sorts of things at the moment. But a very quick way in which we can use AI to summarize some key headline points about the company from its financial statement in a matter of minutes.